In Part 2, we resumed the story of Judas, and its intertwining with the life of Jesus and the Apostles. Each episode is focused on a symbol, which refers to the stars. The Passion of Jesus is a prelude to Easter, the Christian festivity connected to the spring equinox. During this recurrence, the ancients observed the position of the sun on the zodiac, to measure the progress of the precession of equinoxes, and determine the current astrological age. The boundaries of the ages do not coincide with those of the corresponding zodiacal constellations. Each eon lasts about 2160 years, during which the equinoxial point moves 30 degrees on the ecliptic. The transition between two ages occurs when the equinox point crosses a boundary line. This phase lasts approximately 40 years, during which the solar disk crosses the boundary line from side to side. The eons are entities, essentially consisting of chronological time. For an eon, to betray means not to do the only thing that eons can do: to make time pass. Judas' betrayal indicates that in the Age of Aquarius, time won't pass as usual. The chief priests, who interpret the architects of the material universe, plan to erase the Age of Aquarius from the processional sequence. To reach their goal, they offer Judas 30 pieces of silver. These coins represent the 30 degrees of processional progress that occur during an astrological age. They are, in other words, the chronological time that constitutes an eon. Judas, who interprets the Age of Aquarius, does not notice that he is receiving from the priests his 2160 years. Those years have been removed from the processional cycle, and hence will not be able to pass. By accepting the coins, Judas is therefore condemning the Age of Aquarius not to pass. In the Gospels, the leap of the Aquarian age is confirmed again and again, using ever-changing metaphorical images. During the Last Supper, Jesus and the Apostles recreate the celestial order in the room upstairs, impersonating the processional sun and the 12 eons. With gestures of the highest symbolic value, like the sharing of wine, Jesus extends his spirit throughout the ages. He offers Judas a dipped piece of bread, that is a fragment of matter, surrounded by spirit. The bread entering in Judas' mouth resembles the sun entering the region of the Aquarius, giving birth to the eponymous age. At this point, Jesus gives Judas the incomprehensible order: "What you are about to do, do quickly." The Age of Aquarius must do quickly. It must finish immediately after being started. Judas executes the order, leaving the room, and hence removing the Aquarius from the processional cycle. In Leonardo's Last Supper, the motion of the vernal point is to be imagined as a light disk running along the edge of the table, which represents the ecliptic, from left to right. The leap of the Aquarian age is highlighted through three interesting details. First, Judas is the only apostle who visibly interrupts the line of the ecliptic, leaning his whole body on the table. Second, Peter, the age of Pisces, is portrayed in the unusual pose of leaping over Judas, the age of Aquarius. Third, Peter points a large knife towards the advancing processional sun. The hidden message in Leonardo's masterpiece, as well as in the Gospel, suggests that at the end of the age of Pisces, a planetary upheaval, maybe a sudden rotation of Earth's axis, might cause the annulment of the Age of Aquarius, and its sleepover by the Age of Pisces. The suffering of Jesus in Gethsemane indicates that the upcoming upheaval concerns above all the sun. The drops of blood that appear on his face are wide anomalies on the solar surface, perhaps immense sunspots, visible even to the naked eye. Two fairly precise references indicate that the event should occur at the end of the era transition period. The first reference is the kiss of Judas. From the visual point of view, the kiss is simply the establishment of a contact between the body of the apostle and the luminous face of Jesus. This contact becomes visible even in the sky when the bright disk of the equinoctial sun, the face of Jesus, reaches the region of the Aquarian age. The body of Judas. The kiss of Judas represents the instant in which the solar disk achieves the Pisces-Aquarius borderline. This condition occurs exactly at the beginning of the age transition period. The second reference is the cut of Melchizedek. This reference is composed by three elements: Malchus, the sword, and the ear cut. Malchus is introduced as the servant of the chief priest. His entering in direct contact with Peter, that is with an eon, reveals that he is a celestial body. Precisely, one of the bodies that orbit on the ecliptic. The name Malchus derives from the Semitic root Melech, which means king. Therefore, the celestial body corresponding to Malchus can only be a king. On the other hand, the only king of the sky is the sun. Most probably, Malchus is a temporary semblance of the sun, become unrecognizable after the changes started with the appearance of the sunspots. The sword of Peter is instead a celestial reference. Each eon marks on the ecliptic a 30-degree arc, whose boundary lines, in the Gospel, are sometimes referred to as swords. The region of the sky between them, on the other hand, is referred to as cloak. The swords symbolize the turbulences of the transition periods, while the cloaks, the placid habits of the ongoing ages. The processional machine ensures that, approaching to the transition period, if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak, and buy one. Jesus' suggestion has nothing to do with purchasing weapons. It's an invitation to understand and welcome the changes brought by the incoming age. Like the kiss of Judas, the contact between Melchizedek and Peter's sword can be observed in the sky. Precisely at the end of the Pisces-Aquarius transition. At this time, Peter hurls the blade. In the Gospel, the episode remains without consequences, as Malchus is healed. This means that the event has no visible effects on the sun. If Judas' kiss represented the beginning of the transition period, the chop of Melchizedek marks the end of this period. Like Judas, Peter is also an eon. A long period of time, composed of almost 800,000 days. For an eon, denying any connection with Jesus means rejecting the sun and its light. The triple denial of Peter can therefore be related to the numerous Christian prophecies concerning the 3 days of darkness. Every time a neon denies the sun, a day of darkness occurs. The rooster crow, on the other hand, represents the sunrise and the beginning of a new day of light. The Gospels suggests that 3 days of darkness should occur at the end of the Pisces-Aquarius transition. According to Mark, those days might not be consecutive. The first day of darkness, corresponding to the first denial, is followed by a day of light, announced by the first cockcrow. The darkness returns for another 2 days, corresponding to the 2 further denials, before the rooster crows again. Subtracting Judas coins from the processional cycle, the priests erased the Aquarius from the celestial vault. Returning the money, Judas gives them a chance to restore the celestial order. However, the priests take a different decision. Instead of putting the 30 coins back to their place, reintegrating the processional cycle, they only restore the hole in the night sky, left by the Aquarius. In fact, they buy a potter's field. Like the cloak, the term field indicates a portion of sky. The owner of this portion, the potter, is a job-bearer. For this reason, they hope that the new plot will fit the sky hole left by another job-bearer. The Aquarius,